Hello, Maddie here. It has been 2 weeks since I've seen you last. I'm happy to be back here. Happy to be starting out 2023 with you guys. So I had a couple of different topics I could have talked about today, but I chose to talk about my previous picks for Book of the Year. Now, as explained in my last video, every single year the Paul Storm family, a couple of members get to pick a book for that year. You are not required to read it, but you are highly recommended to read it. We've been doing this since, hang on, let me check. I asked my dad because I wasn't sure. We have been doing this since 2011, so 12 years. And at least according to my dad's list, I got to pick a book in the first year, 2011. I picked books in 2011, 2014, 2017, 2020, and now 2023. Even though we did switch to the 4-person, 4-year schedule, the way that we mapped it out and scheduled it, it's all 3 years apart, but my next one will not be until 2027. So, with that, I wanted to talk about the books I've recommended. You will see 4 of them back there. One of them I do not own because I don't like it. 2011, I picked the book Redeeming Love, and lots of people like this book, especially in the Christian circles. It's like the romance book, because it's a retelling of a biblical story that is a romance. Now, I had heard such good things about it, I was like, I don't know what to pick, so let's just pick this. And I didn't actually read it in 2011. I did not read it until 2018. And I didn't like it because it was so highly recommended in these Christian circles. I had very high expectations, and it fell flat in like a million different ways. So, first book I picked, do not recommend. Second time around, we picked Mansfield Park. I did not learn my lesson, and I had also not read this book before I'd recommended it. Now, I did learn in that I did read Mansfield Park in 2014. I didn't like it when I read it the first time. I thought it was super boring. If you wanted a picture of what ladies did during that time period, you got it. It's rough. But as an adult, I have reread this book, I think in either 2020 or 2021. I reread it, and I had a lot more appreciation for it because Fanny Price is seen as one of the most boring Jane Austen heroines. And while that's true, she's not super exciting or witty like Lizzie. I personally really love Fanny Price, and I've kind of decided she's the heroine I actually most identify with. Fanny Price is consistent and steadfast. She has a moral compass that she follows unabashedly. She is quiet and conservative, but she's not going to be bullied or pushed over for something she genuinely doesn't think is okay. And I love that. I love that even though she is quiet and demure, when it matters, she says it. When it's something she feels strongly and passionately about, she does stand up for herself and for that thing, whatever it may be. So I have a much more appreciation for Mansfield Park and Fanny Price not as an adult. I was an adult in 2017. As a, older adult. Does that make sense? I was still a student in 2017, but in 2020, I had been working full-time, so I don't know, a different setting inspired different thoughts. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear my cat, but since I now work, my cats have been very needy, as is my husband. I skipped years. So 2014 was when I picked Mansfield Park. 2014, I picked Mansfield Park. Not 2017, sorry. I was still a student and an adult in 2014. Like I said, I'm now more of an adult. 2017, I picked Night Circus. This is, honestly, it's a great book. I absolutely love it. I'm pretty sure I read it for the first time in a book club that I was in college. And I love it for a myriad of reasons. One, all the books I recommend do have a love story in them. And with the Maddie guarantee, you know my couples end up together. You know they end up okay and happy. Without spoiling anything. Night Circus is a super awesome book about basically two like actual magicians, and they're like in this battle. But it's not a battle of them facing each other. So there is a setting, and these two magicians are basically trying to outdo each other. And this is a kind of duel of sorts that has been going on for like years and years and years, centuries and centuries and centuries. And the circus is their playing ground of sorts. And so you get to explore all these different rooms, and even though it's all words, visually what you can see in your head is just amazing and beautiful. And one of those things that, while I don't necessarily want it to be made into a movie because I don't think they do it justice, I want it to be made into a movie so that I could maybe see some of these things like visualized. I'm very curious because it's so good and so interesting. One thing to be aware of with this book is it can mess with your head in terms of timeline. It jumps around in time a lot, and each chapter or section, it has a date on it, including year. And you just have to be aware of that as you're going through the book, or you're still probably going to get a little lost and confused, but you'll be very lost and confused if you don't know to look for those things as you are reading it. It's really good. It's a really interesting, very fascinating. Like I said, it's words, but the images that it creates in your head are just astounding. That was 2017. 2020, I picked the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Try saying that 10 times fast. I've said it so many times since then, and I still just trip over it because it's the most ridiculous name ever. But it's an amazing book. It's the first full book that I wrote a blog about at the very beginning, at the infancy of my blog. And it's a wonderful book. It's about an author who goes to the island of Guernsey post-World War II. She's writing an article on the power of books and just how much they can affect our lives. And Guernsey was an English isle that was occupied by the Nazis during World War II. Now, this book takes place in letters. And I mean, I love that because you get a whole bunch of different points of view. This didn't translate well into the movie because in the movie she shows up and they still haven't accepted her because they don't know her. In the book, she does all of that beforehand. She doesn't even get to the island till like a third of the way through the book. And with that, she has already passed back and forth so many letters that they have already accepted her and love her. And there's no like, do we trust her? Can we accept her in our group? No, they already are like just so excited to have her there. It'll make you tear up, but it is so powerful and so good. It's a pretty short book. It is a very quick read. It is not this like super dense, it's not, Lord of the Rings, that's super dense, super long. It's like something like 200, 250 pages at the most. And it just gives you this glimpse. And while the stories themselves are fictional, the things that happen on that island aren't. This really happened. I mean, obviously World War II really happened, but this occupation actually happened. So I love it and recommend it because it's easy to read. I feel like you can relate to it, whether you're a romance person or not, history buff or not. A book you can pick up and love and enjoy and appreciate, partially because the point of the book is to show you that books are awesome. And finally, for my 2023 pick, it is Dear Mr. Knightley. Now, I rotated through a couple books to recommend, but I picked this one specifically for a couple of reasons. I was going to say, of all my books, the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society is the book that will make you cry the most. But I am not sure about that. This book might make you cry more because in the other book, it's like a couple of little moments, but in this one, there's kind of some sustained moments, like full scenes that are just, but it's this like refreshing, rejuvenating, shedding the old, bringing on the new kind of crying. Does that make sense? You get to the end of it and you feel made new because of this thing you've experienced. So it's the kind of crying that's worth it. I think I might have said that in one of my videos that, I cry a lot, but I try not to cry needlessly. Read it for the first time in 2021. It is 2023. I've read it, I know, at least 3 times. And I have absolutely loved it every single time. It's a story of a foster kid who has aged out of the system and she's going to graduate school. The book makes it seem like, and I feel like this is probably true, but I don't actually know, it's basically if you stay in school, they will continue providing a place for you to live so long as you continue being a student. So this person is going to grad school. She basically tried and failed to go out on her own after she turned 18 and was like, okay, maybe not, or like at 20 or whatever when she graduated college. And so she is going back to get her master's. It is about her growth through this time. She learns a lot about herself, a lot about the world and how she fits into it, what she's truly genuinely capable of. And oh, it's so good because it's not easy in terms of emotions, but like I said, it is all so worth it because as she grows, you grow with her and you come to the end of the book and kind of no matter where you are in your life, no matter what season or thing you're just trying to work through, this book helps you work through it. So it's purely fictitious. It is entirely fictitious. But the way it makes you feel and the person you are on the other side of it makes it so worth reading. And that's why I picked it for this year, because I've gone through just lots of periods of transition in the last year and a half. And this book I picked up near the beginning of that time. So I think I picked it up, I want to say like July, August of 21 is when I picked this book up for the first time. And that was right around when, all this transition started. And I know part of the reason I love it so much is because of the time in my life when I read it. I really, really needed this book. I really, really needed the way that it would make me feel. I really needed the kind of self-revelations it would bring to me. And that's part of why it means so much. But reading it since, it still just is so true. It still makes me cry, but I still come out the other side feeling renewed. Feeling like I understand myself a little bit better. I understand the world a little bit better. And I'm spending most of my time talking about this book specifically because it is this year's book. And I would love, love, love for you to read it. And I do want you to read them. And, I want to know your thoughts and opinions on them. But more than anything, I just want you to read. Because the things it can bring to your life is honestly limitless. And as I've gotten older, I appreciate books in a different light, but I also recommend books kind of for different reasons than I used to. I still recommend just cute, fun books. I still do that a lot. But if there is a book that I think is so genuinely worth your time, I'm going to talk to you about it, even if I don't necessarily think it's your thing. But I say all of these things, I feel all of these things, and I am willing to put in this time, even though I am tired and I am so hungry. I am so hungry. And not only do I not get to go eat after this, I'm going to go work out. And then I have to friggin' wash my hair, and then I get to eat. But it's all worth it, because I love this book. I want you to love this book. And if you don't, I honestly, genuinely want to know why. I would love to discuss this book with somebody, which is part of why I pick it for the book of the year. Because while not all my family members will read it, some of my family members will read it, and I will get to talk to them about it. And I love that. I love talking about books, if that was not already obvious. I love talking about books. I love picking your brain about how books made you feel, what they made you think, kind of who you were before and after. I love the journey that books take you on. So, that was a recap of all of Maddie's family books of the year. 2011, we had Redeeming Love. 2014, we had Mansfield Park. 2017, we had Night Circus. 2020, we had the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. And 2023, we have Dear Mr. Knightley. It's a great book. I'm probably going to read it. It would not shock me if I read it at least 2 times this year. Because it's the book of the year, I'm like, might as well just read it again. So that just means my intake of it is going to go up. I love to see how far my tastes and preferences and recommendations have come in the, 12 years since my first recommendation. It's really cool to see just how I've grown, how I understand people a little bit better, how I understand how to make recommendations a little bit better. But I love recommending books. I love recommending books, and I genuinely hope you read even one of these. Even if it's your dreaming love, please tell me if you feel the same way as me. Or if not, because like I said, there is a whole sect of people that love this book and think it, just rave about it, think it's amazing. And I don't get it. Also, a couple of things. One, if you made it to this point in my video, please think about subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, all of those wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. Greatly appreciated. Also, I wanted to say, I look a little bit different. I'm wearing makeup. And while you guys get to enjoy this makeup face, it wasn't for you. I started a new job last week, which is awesome, and I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. I've only been in it for a week, so I can only say so much about how great it is. But so far, it has been so awesome. My coworkers are so great. I love my boss. She seems like an incredible manager, and I have had good and bad managers, so I know what they look like. I am so excited to be in just the exact job title that I want, at the exact place that I wanted to be, and it's so exciting to see how far that I've come and to be at this place. But that's why I look the way that I look. There's a chance going forward I will have makeup in like all my videos. I'm still planning on going with the every other week schedule. There will be a blog to go along with this video. So I'd love if you checked it out. It's just my blogs are just a great companion piece to go along with the videos. So I think that is everything. With all of that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great night, great week, great weekend, great month, great year, especially now that we're at the beginning of it. I hope you have a great year. I hope you have all of the greats because you are truly worthy and deserving of it. So until next time, bye.